Welcome and thank you for joining. My name is Ellen Swafford, and today I will be presenting on doing business in the Portuguese Republic. We'll start with an introduction of the country, and then we'll move on to business culture. Further, we'll go to dining, and we'll end with living abroad in Portugal. To introduce the country of Portugal, Portugal is a country on the Iberian Peninsula. It is bordered to the north and the east by Spain, and to the west and the south by the Atlantic Ocean. With a population of over 10 million people, it has major cities such as Lisbon, the capital, Porto, Coimbra, Setúbal, Braga, and Funchal. The business culture in Portugal is very work-life balance focused. The workday will start about 9, it will go on till about 6, and there will be a basic 1-hour lunch. As in Italy, where you might expect in Italy, you might have a 2 or 3 hour lunch, and it's a very social event. In Portugal, they haven't adopted that mindset, so your lunch will be a traditional 1-hour lunch. Punctuality is very different in Portugal. It is okay to be casually late, often expected. If a host has set a meeting for a specific time, they'll generally arrive a few minutes before to set up, and then their guests are expected to arrive about 5 minutes late. If you have an appointment with a Portuguese colleague at a set time, be sure to confirm that date and time a few days before. And then when you arrive, don't be upset if you're kept waiting for about 20 minutes. That's typical. However, anything 30 minutes or longer is considered very rude. So conversely, if you have a meeting with a Portuguese colleague, don't keep them waiting 30 minutes or longer. Also, don't schedule appointments in the late afternoon, such as 4, 4:30, 5 o'clock. Generally, the day is wrapping up, and those are not well-spent meeting times. Business culture in Portugal is very hierarchical. It's very stratified. Subordinates look to their bosses to make decisions, all the way up usually to the top of the food chain. Autonomy is not something that you're going to find in Portugal in the Portuguese business culture. It is very well-to-do to use business titles, to use personal titles, and do not call a person by their first name unless you are very close friends with them, or you are given express permission to do so. Always address them as Senor or Senora, which is Mr. or Mrs. respectively, using their last name along with that title. Gift giving is acceptable and often expected in the professional environment. It's a personal gesture, and it's very rude to re-gift something given to you to your subordinates. And typically don't share it. It's a personal gift that person has picked out specifically for you. And of course, follow up your meeting with a thank you note and address the gift that was given to you. Portuguese business professionals appreciate items from your home country that signify your home country. It's suggested to look towards whiskey or cognac, coffee table books, and maybe even personal items like scarves or ties. There's a couple things that shouldn't be given as gifts as they have bad connotations. Red flowers or lilies or chrysanthemums have bad connotations in Portugal. Also, don't give wine to a Portuguese colleague unless you know their preference, because Portuguese wine is generally considered far superior to any other region. Also, don't give overly expensive gifts unless a person's status justifies that. All right, moving on to dining in Portugal. Dining is usually a social event, the evening meal. It's a multi-course event and typically starts with cover, which are like tapas or appetizers. And then moves to the main course. However, there may be a course in between the two, and then moves on to dessert. The cuisine in Portugal is typically not spicy and more comfort food oriented. There's typically a fish and or pork option. They have traditional dishes just like any other culture. They have bacalhau, which is a dried and salted cod. They have grelado, which is a grilled sardine. They have chorico, which I enjoy. It's a slightly spicy pork sausage. They have pastel de nata, which is a creamy custard-filled pastry shell as a dessert. And they also have a caldo verde, which is a soup made with leafy green vegetables, typically kale, and then they also add potato and chorizo in there. Dining etiquette it's a bit different. You can find yourself coming into some embarrassing situations if you don't read up on dining etiquette in Portugal. You are expected to remain standing and only sit after you're invited to do so. And then once everybody's sitting and you're ready to eat, you're only supposed to start eating after the host proclaims "Bom appetito," which means enjoy your meal, yeah. Also, make sure to leave some food on your plate. Excuse me. Because that signifies to the host that you have received enough food and you're content. One thing I did find very interesting as far as dining etiquette in Portugal is that you're not supposed to switch your fork from your left hand to your right hand after you're through cutting your food. You're to keep your fork in your left hand. Also, don't put your napkin in your lap, and your utensils are to remain on either side of your plate on the table until you're through with your meal. Putting your utensils on your plate signifies that you're through. All right, living abroad in Portugal. The weather is very temperate in Portugal. Having weather that is dictated by the Atlantic Ocean kind of provides for a very nice and temperate environment. The summer is full of bright sunny days, great beach weather, and then the winter is mostly temperate, has quite a few rainy days, but not too cold. And foreigners are commonly accepted in Portuguese communities. It is a very good gesture for foreigners to learn a few Portuguese phrases and greet people on the street as they pass them, or greet the shopkeeper for places that they are visiting. All right, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Thanks.